Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Oregon football.
Our connection, our toughness, our growing through moments, our DNA traits showed up at the end.
10, 5, Bonix, give me 6. Pressure, boom. Dorless got to him again.
I just know how hard our guys work, and you love when they work hard, they get rewarded.
To the 10, 5, 6. Bucky Irvin, can he get free on his feet? He does. Franklin scores. Ferguson turns and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon. Touchdown, Ducks.
It was exciting for me to see our guys go out there and execute. I'm proud of them. I love them. So really grateful for that moment.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Country Financial Insurance, protect what matters, and by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Now let's go to the Country Financial Studios and talk Oregon Duck football.
Well, welcome into a Wednesday night, a post-Halloween night. I'm Jerry Allen. It is our Toyota Coaches Show from our Country Financial Studios. Jerry with Jorgie and the coach in the house. Not in uniform. I mean, Halloween uniform.
What'd you wear last night?
I didn't do the uniform thing last night. We just stayed in and fed candy to kids.
You were in charge.
Yeah, we were in charge.
How much did you hand out?
Gosh. Pounds.
They cashed in.
Oh, they cash in. And my wife and I are different. You know, she's like, here's 1 or 2 pieces. Here you go. And I'm like, grab a handful. Now you grab some. So I'm like that. Yeah, I love
That's
doing
good.
that. Yeah,
Did you save any for you, though? I mean, did you pull out the ones that you like?
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
I'm a dark chocolate
you're giving
fan,
people,
so
giving the kids
what kind of dark chocolate are we?
Hershey's dark chocolate,
Okay.
those little ones, you know, because you can stuff
The
them in your
golden
pocket.
wrapper.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I haven't seen any of that this year. I need to go and check, the boys' candy, see what we got.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're talking about Halloween. I'm assuming, in fact, we know. Don't we know that they celebrated with a little Halloween last night?
We had some Halloween action.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was so we did that Monday night up here at the facility. We had all the coaches and their families come by. And I got some grief last year. I didn't have anything. So my wife got me that werewolf mask. And I'll just say that's a little bit more intense than necessary for some of the young kids.
Some of the kids.
I had some kids crying when they came in the office, so I had to yank it off pretty quick.
Oh, well, that's okay. Sometimes even Santa Claus makes kids cry, too. So
that's what I hear.
Not on you. How about the rest of your staff? I know you guys all.
Do you have that picture?
I think we got that one. Did we not put that up?
No, there's some good ones.
Oh, there's
in there.
another one. Oh, well, we did get into it a little bit a few years ago, and there we are.
It is.
Yeah.
Look at y'all.
Look at that.
So what rock band is that?
Yeah, I know. Look at Jerry.
Yeah.
Actually had hair back then.
Looks good, man.
Oh my gosh, that was fun. That was we used to do the show on the road, so we everybody came in dressed up for Halloween. And then I think we have the staff. Didn't we have your staff? Didn't do the staff, okay. But your whole staff.
Yeah, they all
got into it.
We had some good looking crew. We had a good looking crew there on Monday night. It was fun to see.
That was good stuff. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Do you have a favorite?
So I like dark chocolate too. I'm probably Almond Joy or I like gummies too, like the Lifesaver gummy rings deal. Those are pretty good.
Okay. Skittles is on.
I'm not a Skittles guy.
No. 100 grand?
That's the one.
100 grand.
I'm hearing 100 grand in the background.
I don't know.
For some.
All right, let's get serious. Talk about some football. Great performance at Utah on Saturday. You could say great job, everybody, but I want to have you kind of tell me what you really liked about, each side of the ball, offensively, defense. Let's start with the offense. What did you like about what your offense did Saturday?
Well, starting fast was huge, right? And I wouldn't say great performance. I'd say good performance. We had a good performance. And just the ability to go down, execute the plan, more than ever this year, I thought our players had a great understanding of what we were trying to do offensively, what we were trying to do defensively. It's a really tough defense to move the ball on. Yeah. And our guys, our coaches had a phenomenal plan, and our players executed that plan, offensively. Defensively, it's always great when you can be advantageous taking the ball away. Yeah. We were able to get that twice. We're able to be really locked in on the run game. And limit some of the rushing yards, which is something they do really, really well. And then they had a couple big plays in special teams that I wish didn't happen. But on the same note, we had some big special teams plays as well. We were able to tackle them inside the 20 on a play and have some success with our our PBR and our punt units. So overall, I was really pleased with our guys' execution of the plan that we practiced throughout the week.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. You started with the offense and talking about them getting the ball and obviously starting fast. You didn't get behind the chains hardly at all throughout the game, which was really important against that defense, wasn't it?
Yeah, they created, they're a team that has created negative plays against everybody they played against, and we were able to avoid those. And when you can avoid that and stay on schedule, it gives you a chance to have success.
You did something that you really always want to do when you go on the road, particularly in an environment like that, is you took the crowd out of it right away.
Yeah, they have a phenomenal crowd, and we wanted to not make that a weapon for them. So that was a big part for our game. When you have a great crowd, it alters your cadence, it alters the rhythm, it creates distractions that you're trying to avoid. And for us, we know we play better football when we can eliminate those. So trying to take them out of it early was important.
A lot of silent snap counts and that type of deal that you had. When did you call that off? Were you able to call it off?
Yeah, we almost felt like, after the first series that we could get, back to a normal rhythm. But we wanted to go ahead and it was good practice for us anyway. So we wanted to keep it going. And we did. We did call it off later on in the game where we felt like we could go back to our normal cadence.
What does it do for a team and a staff's confidence when you don't get the flip, you're going to get the ball, which you said you wanted to get the ball, and you take it right down the field and score? Confidence-wise, it sets the tone for the game, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And Bo and I were talking the night before the game just about that thought process. We spend a lot of time deciding, okay, where do we want to do overtime? What's the win like in this stadium? Do we want to take the ball? Do we want to defer? And I would say normally I defer. It kind of plays back to our middle eight philosophy of trying to score at the end of half and get the ball coming out of half. But, we had talked about what are we planning on doing this game. And, I think 9 out of the last 10 games they had played and the opponent had started on offense, they had gotten a stop. So Bo, after the game, of course, texted me 9 out of 11, because he wanted to remind me, we went and got, went down there and got it done. So proud of the way those guys performed, proud of how they started fast, and that created a lot of momentum for us.
You guys were so solid at the line of scrimmage and at the point of attack, offensive line-wise. I mean, I look at it, no tackles for loss by the Utah defense, no sacks, which tells me control at the line of scrimmage. You guys did such a great job there.
Yeah, and they have a big front. They obviously had one of the best pass rushers in the game, still do. And that was something we spent a lot of time on. And how do we want to be able to control these guys at the line? And I thought, again, our coaches had a great plan for that, and our players executed it well.
I mean, there were a couple of times, Jerry, we looked at it, and Bucky Irving would take the ball headed down the line of scrimmage, getting ready to make a cut, and he would duck down low behind your own offensive line. But, I mean, I've not seen that happen very often because they had gotten such great push forward, and he was behind 2 or 3 offensive linemen. I mean, he would take the handoff, and he would duck.
Yeah.
Nobody was even trying to – so it just was a great job, I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah, and Bucky's not that tall, so if he's ducking now,
yeah, that's right.
That's a small target to hit.
Is it coached to do that? I mean, does he realize, hey, I'm out there, I'm smaller than that front line, I'm going to get behind him? I mean, is that just an
I've never
instinct?
coached that drill. That's instinct.
He was going hard. There's no doubt
we'll
about
pretend
it.
that's
You
coaching.
tell he was just hiding.
Anything Bucky does really well, I'm going to pretend that I told him to do
Okay,
that.
that's coaching. Hey, we are in our Pepsi Coaches interview. We're going to get a quick break in here and come back with more Coaches interview brought to you by Pepsi and locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. From our Country Financial studio, we are right back. More on the Toyota Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Go Ducks!
It's made, turn, don't deny me the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studios. I'm Jerry Allen with Jorgie and the coach, our Pepsi Coaches interview as we continue the Toyota Coaches Show. And we'll get on the defensive side of the ball and talk about everybody. But one addition to the middle part of that defense around the linebacker spot is Justin Jacobs. What does he bring to that defense? Because it's a lot.
Yeah, he's a great player. I think that everybody else is starting to see that and recognize it. You know, he's very productive. You know, you talk most important defensive trait is, can guys get people to the ground? And Justin's one of those guys that can get guys to the ground. And really proud of the progress he's made, and him getting healthy was really important for us. And it's starting to show up on game day.
That's cool.
You're able to play so many guys on defense, and in particular along the defensive line, that you're able to take guys like Dorless and Birch and put them in a lot of spots and sometimes right together. Talk about the advantage of being able to put two guys that are vets, really athletic, strong guys in a position where they're right next to each other.
Yeah, one thing we've really tried to focus on this year is creating matchups, and you know, to have the ability to move a Brandon Dorless along the defensive line in different locations allows us to create some of those matchups. And you know, having your best 11 on the field, well, for us, our best 11 is really more like our best 22, because we have a lot of guys that can play at a really high level, and they all deserve that opportunity to get out there on the field and eat. But we can create some matchups with guys like that we can put together, and you have to make a decision, you know, offensively, how are you going to handle them?
We talk about depth a lot. Seems like each week we talk to you. You're 3 months into this season since August, 8 games in. You got a pretty good rotation. We see guys coming in. But you still have, I got to believe, a pretty good number of guys who now are almost veterans through practice that you can look at and start drawing on and even adding more to your depth, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it as a team earlier today, how important fall camp was to our progress. And, you know, you're not playing any games in fall camp. I know that seems like forever ago right now, but our guys are really bought into the thought of that work is leading to the success that we're having right now, you know, on the field, the work that they've put in, you know, previously.
As your DBs gain more and more confidence, you brought a lot of pressure on Saturday and got after the quarterback and got after it, a lot of things that they did. But you got to be able to cover him behind, and your DBs right now are really playing good football. A lot of guys are playing good football.
Yeah, you know, I give credit to our DB coaches, you know, Coach Hampton and Coach Martin. You know, a lot of DB coaches don't necessarily like pressure because it puts them on an island. You know, both those guys love the fact that we bring pressure because it means they don't have to cover as long. And we do a good job of mixing that up. Coach Lepoy's done a great job, and our entire defensive staff has done a really good job of giving different looks and creating different matchups for us in the back end and in the front.
Evan Williams, 22 tackles in 2 weeks. And I know you don't count the tackles, but he's been a major factor in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and he likes to hit people too, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he's that's the way you're supposed to play football, man. The way Evan plays football is the way it's meant to be played, and he gets better and better each week, and really proud of the job that he's done.
You realize how great a staff is when you get this point of the season and you've had 8 weeks now to get ready for each opponent. You add to the video you can watch and the research you can do, and your staff, your team seems to do a pretty remarkable job each week of being better coaching than the opposite side. As you get into the season, you're getting more video. Is it easier because you have more to look at and pick at?
I don't know if it's ever easier, but it certainly helps dial in our process and what we're looking at. You know, we pride ourselves in taking a deep look, you know, so I think people think you're looking at just last year's film, and generally we do a deep dive back. We'll go look at film from previous years, previous opponents, other coaching stops for coaches. So we've got a detailed group, and that process certainly leads to us having opportunities for success in season.
What I love about your defense and the 2 takeaways, the 2 interceptions that turned into 14 points. But it almost felt like the 4th down stops are takeaways from a turnover standpoint. Your defense really took advantage of those stops and made points out of them.
Yeah, some of the biggest things our defense did, this past Saturday was putting out the fire. Big return, put out the fire. We had an interception the next play, creating that interception. Some of those 4th down stops, like you said, that's big field position swings, right? When you don't lose those yards in special teams and you're able to get a stop on defense, that leads to great opportunities for us.
You're putting together, you have a group of people on your staff that put together an inspirational video. I call it inspirational because it inspires me after every game. The one we just saw from this last game, it's too long for us to show, but it was fascinating. Got a chance to see a little snapshot of what you say to your team. And I guess a bigger question is, what do you say in general to your team and to your staff when you're preparing them for a game? What kind of motivation, I guess?
Well, I think the message is different each week based on the team we're playing and kind of where we're at in the season. So each week we kind of have a theme that we ride with, and we try to curtail like our messaging, around that theme. And that was no different this last week.
I've asked you a lot of questions about your young guys, and they continue to play some really good quality downs and that type of deal. It's almost like they're vets now, not only in relation to the way that they're playing, but they've been in the Utah, Washington, Texas Tech environment. It doesn't seem like any of that is phasing those guys. Like they're just like they've been here for years.
Well, real competitors love those environments, and I think we have some real competitors on this team.
Before we get into Cal, I want to ask you about your post-game statement. I was so proud of you when you talked about the terrible incident that had been going on in America and the violence, and it related that the reason you brought it up is because of family and team. I wanted to ask you to kind of not go through the whole statement again, but why you felt that was a good time to do that.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on things that are going on in the U.S. and around the world right now that mean something to me. And I don't think a lot of coaches want to touch that subject because early on as a coach you're taught not to talk about those things. Yeah. And one thing that I've always done sitting in this seat is I'm going to speak from the heart. And if there's one thing that any of us can do to help eliminate somebody dying, from gun violence, well, why wouldn't we look into that? Why wouldn't we do that? I think there's over 20,000 people. I think, and when people say that, they're saying, "Oh, you're only talking about mass shootings." No, there's over 20,000 people right now this year that have died from gun-induced suicide. Right? I mean, what can we do about that? That's mental health, right? That's part of that. But mass shootings, look, I'm about to go on a rant here, and you probably don't want to hear it all, but I can't go to the local store and buy a grenade, right? And I shouldn't be able to, right? You have to have a certain license to drive a CDL truck, right? Sure. Or drive an 18-wheeler. And I'm not saying that there needs to be differences in laws. Certainly the laws that we have need to be enforced, but it's something we as a country have to take a deep look at and say, are we going to just keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, or are we going to do something about it? And it's everything. It's not just gun control. It's not just mental health. I would be a fan of having somebody that has a gun on their hip at every school in the nation. I think that we should have officers that are able to protect our children because I send my 3 kids to school,
sure,
and I want to see my 3 kids come back. And human life matters, and I just hope that we will take the opportunity to do something about it at some point.
A whole new level of respect for you for stepping up and saying something. I appreciate that, and I know a whole lot of fans do. All right, let's move to your opponent, Cal Bears, coming up next. Team that will come at Autzen with a couple of ex-Ducks. One's a head coach, one's a defensive coordinator. Have you worked around Peter Sermon much at all? I mean,
I haven't been around Peter much. I've got to be around, Coach Wilcox a good amount with our meetings that we have, in the offseason. Have a lot of respect for him, but certainly aware of what both those guys did wearing Duck uniforms.
What are some of the things that make Cal dangerous?
Well, on offense, they're operating at a really high click. I think they've settled in, at quarterback, and they've been able to put a lot of points on the board. Because they're able to execute their scheme really, really well. They have one of the best run games going, but you just see them getting better and better each week with that execution.
We were in a very hostile environment last week. This week you get the Autzen crowd back, and that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah, our crowds can be the difference. And just like us wanting to take the crowd out of the game last week, it's important that they can never take the crowd out of the game this week. So I'm excited to see our fans. It's fun always to be back in Autzen. I know they'll make an impact on this game. It's going to be a fun one.
It's funny how people talk about November and how important it is. This is the first game of November. There's a second game in November. You take it one at a time, and it's not a month. It's what's right in front of you, isn't it?
Yeah, for us, we're starting a brand new season, right? The season in November. This is wild card week for us. We're treating it like the playoffs. So this is the first round of the playoffs. We got to go execute and make sure we do a good job out there.
Do you guys, I know you look at it, the kids look at it, you have to look at it, but how do you respond to and handle your number 6 in the first college football rankings that come out? It's the first one. It doesn't mean anything. Is that pretty much what you say?
Just win. Right? If all of our goals are in front of us if we just win. And if you focus on just winning, you're not going to get that done. You have to focus on the process that makes winning happen. So we know that if we take care of business, the rest will be sitting in front of us.
It's amazing that your players state almost word for word the same thing. So
sharp guys.
Yeah, they are sharp guys.
Yeah.
Coach, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming in. Love hearing from you and getting ready for the next game. Good to be back home. Thanks for being here with us again tonight. And Jorgie's got you, or Joey's got you downstairs after the game, I guess. I'll see you tomorrow. It's only Wednesday. I'm going to go eat some candy.
There you go.
All
Get
right.
you some candy, dark chocolate.
Come back.
And drink a Pepsi.
All right, I'll do that. All right. Go get one out of the freezer. As soon as we'll get Casey Rogers coming up next. All right. Welcome back to the show, Joey. And Joey's going to join us up here, and we bring Casey in. Although Casey's in class, which I don't understand how that's all working, on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoCCU.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
Football the way you like it.
Woo! That was some football.
The Oregon Ducks on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back on the Toyota Coaches Show, Joey Mac now with you. Thanks to Coach Lanning for joining us. Okay, so when you're a grad student, sometimes you got to take classes at strange times. Casey Rogers is taking a class at a strange time, a 6 to 9 p.m. class, so we actually sat down earlier with our player guest here tonight. Casey Rogers joins us in the Country Financial Studio. Okay, so really, this is true. Casey has class every Wednesday from 6 to 9 p.m., and I'm going to quote Matt Neuer because he and I had this conversation. He runs the operations for Oregon football, and Matt was like, I didn't even know they had classes that late. They have classes that late.
Student athlete.
Casey Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
appreciate it.
What's the class?
It's actually a mass media class.
It's my last class before I actually officially finish my program. So I kind of did it on purpose to get this class this term because I only have to take one class this term, and it's once a week. The other one I could have done twice a week, but I'd rather knock it out in one day.
Yeah, sure.
And it's a pretty fun class.
That's great. So I'm going to ask you to do this again. Last year you had to tell your 2-minute life story. Do you remember how you did?
It was pretty. I think I was pretty close, right?
You were pretty close.
It's 2:55.
Yeah, you were over. You were one of the few that is over, and I have a theory as to why you went over. Can I share it with you?
Yeah.
That you're a little bit older than the average student athlete who's like 18 to 19 years old that we asked that to, and they have to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I have about 5 years on them.
That's right. Yeah. See? That 5 years, though, that's a valuable 5 years. So I'm going to give you another shot at it. Remember, we have a leaderboard.
All right.
The record is a minute 59.56, as close to 2 as you can get. Ready?
Yep.
2-minute life story, Casey Rogers, go.
Yeah, so originally from Syracuse, New York, where I lived there with my family, and I pretty much I'm originally from Ohio, moved to a small town called Cortland, and then Cortland, New York, and then moved up to Syracuse probably right before middle school. But I claim I'm from Syracuse. It's where I went to high school. It's where I all my friends are from there anyway. So so played football, lacrosse, hockey growing up all throughout high school. Played 3 varsity sports as a freshman, all the way up to senior year. My dad was a lacrosse coach at Syracuse, so basically grew up in the locker room there. Couldn't get off the feet, couldn't get a lacrosse stick out of my hand, couldn't get a football out of my hands. It was every day. My dad was picking me up from school, bringing me to what their indoor center would be, where I was just playing ball all day long, as long as I could. My dad actually lived on campus. My mom lived over by my high school, so it was kind of like the tale of two different worlds. When I wanted to act like a college student, I'd go to my dad's house. When I wanted to remind myself I'm still in high school, I'd go to my mom's and hang out with my friends over there. So then from there, graduated from West Hill High School, then went to a prep school named Avon Old Farm School. It's in Hartford, Connecticut, where it's an all-boys school. I did a year there, played football, lacrosse, hockey, and I ended up wrestling. Funny story, I'll have to tell it later, but I ended up picking up wrestling quickly and finished this winter out wrestling. From there, attended University of Nebraska for 4 years, played 4 years there under Scott Frost. Loved it there. Just unfortunately couldn't get the record where we wanted it to be. Some unfortunate things happened when we were there with the whole coaching staff rotation and stuff like that. And then from there, I ended up at the great University of Oregon, where I'm currently at for my sixth year of college football, 6th year of school. If you count the years since I graduated high school, it's 7. But that's kind of where I'm at now. There's a lot more details in it, but I really want to hit this 2-minute mark. Done.
2:03. Well done.
So what's the record?
Record's a minute 59.56. Our old volleyball assistant coach Dave Butler, a minute 59.56.
Okay, Coach Butler.
That though I believe is the 3rd closest we've ever had to 2 minutes.
Okay.
We had one that was a
2:02. I talked too much because I started talking
but
about
you were
other
so
things,
good.
You know.
You were like, wait, that's a story for later because so that 2:03.86. You're in the top 3.
Cool.
You're in the top 3.
I'm like that.
You're a legend now. Yeah, you're a legend now. Okay, so what's the funny story that you skipped over?
Yeah, I actually picked up wrestling while I was on suspension from hockey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The game
Had to
of hockey.
find something to
game
do.
of hockey's pretty rough, and ended up, if you know the game of hockey, no one should mess with your goalie, and someone decided to mess with our team's goalie and had to do what I had to do.
Were you a defender?
I was not. I was a forward. So took a quick break from hockey for a couple games, and while I was doing that, our athletic director came up to me and was like, "Why don't you?" My dad was a national champion wrestler.
Okay.
So he was like, "Why don't you wrestle? Like it's in your DNA. It's in your genes." And I was like, "You know what? Might as well. I'm not doing anything." So he's like, "Okay, but you have a match tonight." And I was like, "I've wrestled when I was like 3 years old, and now I have 2 hours to get ready for a meet." And so I was in the wrestling room. My dad had shown me moves growing up here and there, and I was always wrestling with my friends at home, and just we're always beating each other. We're boys, so we're always beating each other up. So and so I had like the quick lessons from my dad from when I was a kid, and then learned a couple moves while I was there, and ended up winning beating the kid that night, and that kind of started my wrestling career.
That started it all.
Short, but I think I made it all the way to so in New England, it was like New England's, which is like all the New England states championships, basically. I think I took 6 in all New England.
Not bad.
First year wrestling. But the kids who won were like our Ivy League wrestlers now, so they knew what they were doing. I kind of knew what I was doing. But yeah, it was fun.
That is interesting.
Never went back to hockey. Had to hang him up after that.
That really? So that was the end of it?
Yeah, that was the end of my hockey career.
That was the end of the hockey career.
Still serving that suspension.
It never ended. The never-ending suspension. Casey Rogers with us. Tell us a little bit more about your family. So your dad was a great wrestler, and he's a lacrosse coach.
Yep.
I mean, you came from some athletic genes.
Yeah, everyone in my family was an athlete in college. My dad played football. Wrestled. He played lacrosse at a school up in way upstate New York called St. Lawrence University.
Okay.
Transferred after his sophomore year to Syracuse, where he played lacrosse and wrestled. My mom was actually she started the women's soccer team, helped start the women's soccer team at Fredonia. I think it's Fredonia University or Fredonia State, SUNY Fredonia, and it's in Western New York. And she actually holds the first goal for that program, and they're doing pretty good right now. From what I saw, but and my sister, she was a Division I lacrosse player at Syracuse as well. So it's just in the family. That's the standard,
right?
Is being an athlete.
Yeah,
there's no other way.
So I was gonna say, so what's the Thanksgiving conversation like?
It's who did what and who did more.
So you're always measuring each other.
Yeah, my sister thinks she's the queen of the house when it comes to that. She
is she?
She can't. It depends on what we're talking about. Unfortunately, she was kind of cursed with a little bit of the injury bug in college, so her time on the field, wasn't. She didn't really get on the field that much, but she made a long-lasting impact off the field at Syracuse, which was really cool.
Cool.
Something that like I look at now, and while I'm in college, and I'm trying to do what kind of the same stuff she did. She was a great teammate. My dad, he's done it all. Won a national championship, won a state championship. Who knows? My mom's founded a program, which I haven't done or anything like that. So my sister likes to claim that she's a good golfer. Naturally, she's a pretty good golfer, but she has a pretty big head when it comes to that. So I'm waiting to get on the course with her so I can humble her again. Because I remember the last time we went to a driving range, I was kind of laughing. I was like, this is going to be funny. She's going to hit the ball 3 yards, and then I think she hit it straight down the middle, 250. So I was like, oh, you can golf. That's nice. And then so ever since then, I've been waiting to get back on the course with her to humble her up a little bit.
Now you've become, though, a heck of a golfer, so I have to ask about this.
I've been trying. I wouldn't say I'm a heck of a golfer yet, but I'm trying.
But very publicly, you and Jackson Powers Johnson have been going at it in terms of golf. A couple weeks ago, we had to have an admission during a media session about someone being a better golfer. So what's the latest?
Yeah, no. So this summer, with a lot of the golf tournaments that we get to go to, I decided, this is the summer where I'm gonna try my best to get as good as golf as possible. And Jackson was kind of my buddy who really helped me get into it. I golfed before, but I wasn't consistent with it. Wasn't very that good and so every time I started the summer golfing with Jackson and ended the summer golfing with Jackson, and it was kind of fun the thing about golf is I could see myself getting better really fast, so that was really encouraging. And golf in Jackson, same thing. He's already really good, so I was like always trying to catch up to him.
Sure.
We went out one day, and the thing about golfing with Jackson is when I go out golfing with someone else, I play 30 times better, and apparently he does too. Because whenever we golf together, he's like, man, I'm playing terrible. And I'm like, well, dude, but you kind of play like this every time we play. He's like, I know. It's just with you. So I think I'm in Jackson's head. I go out and I tell him, dude, I'm here to have fun. I'm not even keeping track. He's over there like writing down, doing math, looking at his rangefinder. And I'm like, I'm just here to hit the ball as hard as I can. And,
sounds like a center versus a defensive lineman.
I'm like, dude, just have fun. And then as soon as he relaxes, he puts the ball in the hole from 150 yards out. So
sure, as one does.
Jackson is, when he's on the golf course, the thing, I'm there to keep him cool sometimes. When we're on the same team for these golf tournaments, I'm the best teammate in the world because, sometimes I'm just like, Jackson, who cares? He's like, yeah, you're right. And he goes out and he crushes it, and then I'm just there to have a good time anyway. So I'm my mind's relaxed, and so I'm having fun too.
So I know you guys are great friends.
Yeah.
So how does one who's a defensive lineman who's pounding against an offensive lineman in the trenches become friends with that same offensive lineman?
I think for that exact reason.
Really?
It's the respect factor. I'm going against him every day. He's putting his hands on me every day.
And
we're
everything
banging,
about each other.
Yeah, we're hitting each other almost every play. I think it was kind of funny in the spring ball this year. We kind of joked like every time I was on the field, we were running into each other. He was either trying to block me or I was striking him. So it was kind of a joke to see who would make it on the field last. Who's gonna have to crawl off the field from exhaustion. But yeah, no, for that exact reason, is why we respect each other and why we have that friendship. And like I am a little older than him, but I can see like I can see what myself and him as a young player or his age too. He's coming. He's a junior, so he's coming up. I mean, he's obviously having a tremendous year, and these are two very important years this year and possibly next year. So for him, I'm just so proud of him. I'm proud to be his friend. He's made Oregon a great place, just because of how much of a good friend he's been. So it's been a friendly competition, but we've never made it off the golf course hurting each other. So it's kind of nice.
That's good. That's great. We've got more coming up with Casey Rogers, Toyota Coaches Show from the Country Financial Studio. Quick timeout. Back with more after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Go Ducks! Go Ducks!
Give it to me, baby! My house! I'm taking it there!
This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Back on the Toyota Coaches Show, Joey Mac continuing our conversation with Casey Rogers. Reminder, he's in class. That's right. Long career. Diving into that long career with Casey Rogers. Continuing on that front with your longevity of your career. Do you know how many games you've played in?
No.
Do you have a guess?
All right, so, COVID's going to throw it off.
Right.
4, 8. I'd say about 40.
Yeah, that's a ton of football games.
Is it? Yeah. 40.
I think it's a ton of football games.
Well, that's why I came to college.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. But so, I was curious because we were having this conversation about how Bo just set the record for, most starts as a quarterback in FBS. And then I started thinking about, you and some of the others that have had those extra years. And I know sometimes you're banged up, but That's a lot of football games. Like, you look back on your career, has that hit you yet? Have you thought about that? Like, man, that's a lot of football games?
No, it hasn't, because it's gone by so fast.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like yesterday I was in my first practice. I feel like yesterday I was in the meeting room with Coach T introducing himself to me for the first time.
Huh.
You know, it's gone by like the snap of a finger, and it's really fun to sit back and really just enjoy the process, because, you know, Coach Lanning said it one time, and it just clicked with me. It was like, no one ever regrets hard work, and like I've never regretted anything I've done in my career, because I just know how hard I've worked, and you know, just to get to where I'm at. And you know, it was a tough process with, you know, transferring. Like, I love Nebraska. I loved Coach Frost. Like, there was a lot of good things happening there. It just, unfortunately, football, you know, just wasn't on the track that it needed to be on, and I had to put myself in the best case scenario, or best spot possible for myself to get myself to the next level, and you know, help myself in the future. And Oregon obviously was the place to be for that. And you know, I absolutely love it here, and you know, I don't regret leaving. I don't regret anything like that. But this is like my career has been picture perfect for me. Just cool. My path, and I wouldn't want to have played for two other schools. Like, Nebraska was cool, but I mean, just to play here at Oregon is amazing as well. To have those two schools in my resume is something that I'll cherish forever.
That's cool. Coach Tony Tuioti, you mentioned him. Take us back in time. Your relationship with him. Take fans through it if you could.
Yeah. So Coach T and I met. I would say in about 2018. I would say the spring of maybe the winter of 2017. When I was at that prep school in Connecticut. And I was actually home for break, and he was at Cal at the time, and he called me, recruited me. Me and their DC, I think, was Coach Wilcox at the time. He ended up, they were like, hey, we want to come do a home visit with you, and I was actually back in Syracuse on break for a little bit, so they ended up coming to my house. You know, Coach T coming from the West Coast. He happened to be at my house the night of a huge snowstorm, so he wasn't used to that. So there's actually some really funny pictures I'll have to send to you of Coach T and I on our back porch with about 2 feet of snow stacking up behind us. So so I've known him since then. Then obviously, you know, I decided that, you know, Cal wasn't the place I wanted to play football, and ended up going to Nebraska after my first year. Our D-line coach left, and when I found out that it was going to be Coach T, I already had a previous relationship with him, which was cool. So I was excited about that. And then, you know, Coach T was just exactly what I needed for my career. He's been nothing but amazing. He's a father figure to me. You know, his kids are like my family. Like Tatum's like my brother to me, and then his other two sons are as well. You know, even his wife is just like a mother figure to me and my girlfriend, who we've been with them for 5 years now. So I wouldn't want to play for any other coach, D-line wise, and you know, I'm proud to, whenever I go out in the field, I'm proud to represent his coaching style.
Cool. And
the way he coaches, and you know, hopefully if I'm ever a coach, I'm gonna be, he's obviously my inspiration to coach like him too. So I'm just so happy that I'm able to finish my career with Coach T in college. So when he left, I was unsure if I was going to be able to do that. But obviously, when I hit the portal and Oregon reached out and Coach T called my phone again, it was the easiest decision I've ever made.
Works out. Now, you're going to have to help me with the story, but the way that I understand it, because of some situations with COVID, you actually ended up coaching Tatum.
I did.
At one point, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Big Ten decided to cancel football like 5 times. And so the first time they canceled it, well, actually, so we were practicing. We were fully prepared to play a season regardless if it was in the Big Ten or not. You know, we were talking about, I mean, from what they were passing on to the players, we were talking about even changing conferences for a year, playing a different non-conference schedule. We were practicing. We were ready to go. And then the Big Ten basically shut us down, like, hey, we're not playing this year. And so a lot of us went out and got coaching jobs at local high schools in Lincoln. And I happened to come across Lincoln Southeast, which was the school that Coach T's kids were at, Tatum and Taylor. And yeah, I was like the assistant D-line coach there for four or five games.
How'd you do?
We were 5-0.
Hey!
Never lost.
Coach Rogers 5-0
Never
record.
lost. And but yeah, so obviously I knew Tatum a little bit before, but like that really like those 5 games and those weeks, obviously we got to know each other a lot more. It was funny because like we'd do a drill and I would coach Tatum and he'd be like, "Hey, my dad says that," and I'll just say, "Yeah, well, everything I know actually comes from your dad." So that was pretty fun. And then just getting that experience of coaching. Coaching is obviously something that I want to do in my future too. So just to get that experience and for Lincoln Southeast High School to help me out with that was really cool. And it was cool because I would do the same type of pass rush meetings we do here on Thursday nights with the kids there, and I would try to introduce them to some terminology without being too complex and stuff like that. And it was just really fun. It was a really cool experience. And now, actually, I think it was the Hawaii game. It's hit me a couple times, but especially the Hawaii game. We were out there and it was a big third down. And Autzen was going crazy and there was some music playing. And I looked next to me and it was Tatum. And I just was like thinking to myself, I was like, man, like, if you would have told me 4 years ago that I was going to be next to Tatum on the field doing this, I would have told you were lying. But I looked at it and I was like, hey, man, this is college football right here, and I can't believe we're in it together. And then just to see, Coach T be on all the coach's son when Tatum does something cool, something really good, like his dad, the smile on his dad's face, like it's something that I cherish because it's something that I wish I could do with my dad. For a while I was going to go play lacrosse for him. And but to see that Coach T and his kid on the same field together is pretty cool, and just because of the relationship I have with both of them, I know how special it is to them. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Now, talking about what's next, you're going to play football for a long time. Maybe you're going to go play lacrosse. Who knows? You go back to that in your career, get some eligibility left for lacrosse. Maybe. I mean, you touched on maybe coaching. What are you going to do after you're done playing? Coaching.
Obviously, I want to play football as long as possible. If that's in the National Football League, that's my main football goal. And then when I retire, actually, a short story. When I retire, I'm cutting my hair off. When I retire from football, I'm cutting my hair off. So hopefully my hair will be growing for a little bit longer. But I've always said, man, if I'm capable, if my body allows me to, I want to try to play lacrosse again, whether that's like indoor professional or something like that. To pick up a stick again, obviously there would be some training to do and get in shape for
probably
lacrosse
a different
again.
Shape, right?
But yeah, I mean, I want to try to give that a go if I can. But yeah, no. Obviously, I come from a coaching family. My sister coached. My dad obviously is a coach. He just recently got a new head coaching job at Cortland State University. So shout out to Dad, congratulations. Nice. But yeah, no, it's in my blood. I remember being in a car, going to recruiting events with my dad while he's on the phone recruiting. So I might have one of the best recruiting pitches ever. Just because that's all I listen to on 5-hour car rides driving down to Maryland every year. But yeah, no, I'm probably gonna end up being a coach somewhere.
Cool.
Hopefully, I don't know what sport yet because I love hockey, I love lacrosse, I love football. My dad was a big time wrestler, but I ended up coaching lacrosse. Right. So there's no say on what sport I coach, but I love coaching kids and just giving back to the game.
With that in mind, I always ask this to veterans. I ask it to coaches. What makes a good defensive lineman?
No, there's a lot of things. I think mentality. You got to have that mentality of you want to bring the fight. You want to That's why when someone asked me what position I wanted to play in college, I always said defense because I want to be the one who's hitting someone.
The aggressor.
I want to be the one who's putting my hands on someone else and stopping what someone else is trying to do. I think that's the coolest concept of football is I'm going to do everything I can with my muscles and my body to prevent you from doing what you want to do, and I don't care. So that, and it's funny because my mindset in lacrosse is complete opposite. I like scoring goals in lacrosse. I didn't want to play defense in lacrosse. So, but football wise, I like being able to legally put my hands on someone and physically assaulting them without getting arrested. So
there you go.
I
see it.
Yeah, it's. There's a lot of things that make a good D lineman, but I think the first one is just their mentality.
That's cool. Casey Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. Casey, I could talk to you for hours.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a Duck. And here's to a very successful long career and very long hair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, how about that? The long hair. That's how we'll know. When we come back, talking more Oregon, Cal, getting ready for that 2:30 kickoff here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Fubo is the official streaming platform of Oregon Athletics. With Fubo, you can watch every Pac-12 game, plus more college and pro sports, shows, movies, and news on over 350 live TV channels. Stream it live on your TV, phone, and other devices. No cable required. The best part? You can try Fubo free. There's no contract or commitment. To start watching, just go to FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck, and that's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially with great rates, lower fees, nationwide ATM access, and mobile banking. Earn more interest with remarkable checking, and show your duck devotion with a duck debit card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit. Insured by NCUA.
More gridiron action in 1 minute.
Gonna throw. Oh, what a play for the middle. Touchdown, Oregon.
Coming your way on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy.
What's your name?
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studios. The three J's are all together again, getting ready to be back home. I love being home, but I'll tell you what, guys, that was fun in Salt Lake City on Saturday. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had a lot of success like that there.
Yeah. Well, no one has. They'd won what, 29 of the last 30 or something like that.
That's crazy.
At home. No. What has stuck out to me. In fact, I was on in Salt Lake City with our friends in Bill Riley's station in Salt Lake City, and they asked they said that is the most impressive that they've ever seen anybody play in that stadium against Utah. I thought that was a heck of a compliment because, Oregon was dominant, and that's a big deal. The goals are still in front of them, as Coach Lanning has said. But yeah,
it was impressive, Joe. I mean,
that was fun.
It was just fun. It was just fun.
That was fun. I mean, just to seize control of the game
right away.
Right off the bat. I mean, just right off the bat, they took control of the game, and then to win the last two. I mean, to win the one here at Autzen Stadium last year, and then to be able to win that one.
Let's come back and set up our next matchup, Cal Bears. We'll do that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the studio. The music's gone, which it should be, which means we've said all we can, except 12:30 pregame, 2:30 kickoff, Cal Bears.
Yeah.
Got to do it again.
And go Ducks.
And go Ducks.
Also, $100,000.
100,000.
I didn't know that.
Oh, we taught them that actually the $100,000 was the $100,000 bar.
I didn't know.
That's what it was. Still tastes really good.
Somehow it always comes back around to food.
Doesn't it?
It does.
Candy.
It should.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love caramel. Caramel, as long as caramel's in anything. You like
Caramel.
caramel, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Caramel.
I wish
like
we had
caramel
more time
better.
to go in, but we don't. 12:30 pregame show, 2:30 kickoff. Still got Duck Insider this week. We'll do our pick shows on Friday. And who's in the we don't have time to say who's in the lead.
Yeah.
I am.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight's show has also been brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. The